All right, so just another example of utilizing PEMDAS with this numerical expression here. So this is one of the tricky ones when you have division that comes before multiplication when you're from left to right. And so remember that even though in our PEMDAS, multiplication comes before division, remember that they're actually on the same level, right? And we go left to right. And so here we actually want to divide first. And so 20 divided by 5 would be 4. And then we bring down the multiplied by 2. And then we can actually multiply 4 times 2. And we get 8 as our final answer. Okay. So watch out for that. The alternative would be, and this is the incorrect alternative, right? But if you multiplied first, you would get 10. And 20 divided by 10 is 2, right? Which is obviously not the same as 8, and that's incorrect, okay? All right, so watch out for that. I just wanted to point that out. I think you all probably know that, but just to reiterate and make sure that that's the case. So let's go through a few examples. So evaluate each expression if r is equal to -1, n is equal to 3, t is equal to 12, v is equal to 0, w is equal to -1/2. Okay, so basically we're trying to evaluate the expression. So evaluate just means find the value of, right? Basically, and at least in a math context. And so all we're doing is we're gonna take these values that they give us for the variables, and we're going to substitute them in for these variables in the expression, right? And then we're going to just use order of operations to go from there. So what I usually like to do is whenever I'm given an expression and then I have to input values, I usually just rewrite that expression, but I just open up parentheses wherever there was a variable before. Okay. So then I'll just put everything in where it goes, right? So for r, I'm going to put in -1. So where r was before, I'll put -1, okay? And then for n, there's a 3. So where n was before, I'm going to put a 3. All right, and then I'm seeing here t is 12. So where there was a t before, now I'm going to put a 12. So now I can operate, right? Now I can say, okay, well, let's use these order of operation steps here and figure out what to do first. So the first thing is I want to look inside the grouping symbols, right? So here, there's not much to do, right? That -1's alone, so there's not an operation. Same with this one, right? Same with this one. There's nothing to do inside those. But inside this one here, there are some operations. So I'm going to evaluate this first, and then I'll go from there. So inside here, now I kind of restart the list, right? Inside there, what's going on? Well, there's parentheses, but nothing to do inside. So I'm going to move on. So then there are some powers or exponents, right? I have an exponent here. So I want to evaluate this exponential expression. Okay, so 3 to the 3rd power is 27. 3 times 3 times 3, right? Then I'm just going to bring down everything else. -1. Bring down the 12 in parentheses. Bring down the 9, then -1 squared. All right, so I just bring down everything else. So now I'm still inside the parentheses, right? I still have to finish this up. So I have 27 minus 1, which turns out to be 26, right? So then I'll just bring down everything else. So I'm just doing one operation at a time so I don't get ahead of myself. All right, so now let's look at what's next. So we do have some parentheses, still some grouping symbols, but nothing to do inside, right? There are no operations inside the parentheses. So then we're going to look for exponents. We have one here. So that's the next we're going to do is evaluate this exponential expression. So -1 squared is -1 times -1, right? Negative times a negative is a positive, so it'll be +1. And I bring down everything else. Okay. All right, and then next, I don't see any more exponents, so now we're looking for multiplication and division, right? So we have multiplication here, and we have multiplication here. And you can actually do both those at the same time because they're separated by a plus there. So those you can actually do at the same time, or you can do them one at a time, but we'll do them at the same time. So 9 times 1 is 9. 26 times 12. Get out your calculator if you need to. All right, and we get 312, and then we put the plus there. And so 9 plus 312, this is our last operation, is addition here. So we're going to operate there. So 9 plus 312 is 321. And that's our final answer.